Alright, so I thought I'd show how I usually light up my GFX. It's pretty simple setup. It's like a tri lighting setup, but also a bit of other stuff. So what I do is I switch the cycles automatically with GPU compute most of the time. I go to denoising, I set it to optics, albedo, and normal, and 2. I know most people don't really have a good PC for this, but you don't need a denoiser, I just find it easier. Then I go to cycles, and as you can see, it quickly removes all the noise, which makes it easier for me, right? I could set it to 0, but then I kind of get like artifacts sometimes. As you can see, I don't like those artifacts. I like a bit of like noise is at least better than like those artifacts that it's trying to mix. Like when you have like 0 samples, for example, it kind of looks washy most of the time. So that's why it kind of, wait, hold on. If I set it to 1 sample, you might see it. Yeah, you see how like there's a lot of noise? It tries to denoise that, which gives you all these artifacts, pixelated artifacts. I don't like that. That's why I set it to 2. I think that's better. And it works. So I just do that. This light setup is a bit okay. You can move the light closer, but I personally don't like it. I don't use it. Usually I also delete the camera. I add a new one later on. And then what I do is I start off an area lamp. You might think, oh, is this like the front lamp or like the rim light? No, it's actually gonna go all the way on the bottom, and I'm gonna make it a little bit taller. The reason I do this is I get a bit of a gradient. If I put this on, most of the time I put this on 0 as well. As you can see, I get this like soft gradient. I really like that. I also, not that, vertical split. And then I like to put this on solid view, this on render view. This one would have nothing, so I can work on the lighting. So I can like you can choose how big the gradient is, and then I go from there. Sometimes I make it a little bit more brighter. All right. Sometimes I even go like 1,000, but that's of course too bright. So like I make it like a bit bigger, and then I get like that gradient-ish. Like that's like it's like really bright here, as you can see on the feet. It's quite bright, and then at the top it goes really dark, and then it just fades in with the background. I think that's like a good way to like light up your scenes. It's not realistic, but for stylized GFX like I do, I think it's great. You can also, if you want, attach it to like the lower torso of your rig like that, so this light follows. Of course, you don't want it clipping with the floor, so you need to animate this as well, since if it clips with your character, as you can see, you can have like a disappearing effect. Some people might like that, but sometimes that can get in the way if you're like moving like the feet down or you're moving the rig down. It can like clip, and then you lose a bit of that detail. But yeah, usually you want it on the floor, but if you want, you can like make it go a little bit down. But if it's clipping with the floor, you might need to like a little bit higher, but not too much, otherwise you get like the clipping with the legs, as you can see right there. But usually I'm probably make it like a bit bigger than it normally needs to be, so like that. And then I have my first lamp. Normally it's not that bright, maybe like 50 watts. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so now what I usually do now is I just make like a bigger lamp, and most of the time I delete this lamp afterwards. It's just so I can get like some detail, as you can see right there. Let's put that on 100 watt real quick. As you can see, like I can put this close to the lamp. This is kind of like a rim light, and that already looks pretty dope, as you can see, right? You get like these details and like characters, as you can see. Hold on, why is it not there? Okay, as you can see, you can get like these details. Obviously on the subdivisions it looks a bit, come on, looks more detailed. As you can see, it's on 2 subdivs. That looks great. On viewport you can usually use 0 subdiv, that works fine, but I like to preview 1 and then 2 just in case, and then you can see like that looks really good. You can also render on 0, but I don't recommend that. But yeah, that's what I try to do. So then I can see like the outline of the character kind of, and then I can also like see like maybe I want this a bit brighter, a bit more dull. Like I can choose how it looks like, you know. So I can maybe like make it look like this, or I can make it like look brighter, or like I can choose how my scene will look like, you know. Like this light is really good, and you can even like make it like go up a bit, and then you can rotate it and see how that looks. If you want like an upper light, and then if you like that, you can keep it, right? Like this is a pretty big light. Like it like really changes the scene up just with seeing the outline of a character. Of course, if you have like a background, I recommend hiding your background first. If you don't have your character sorted, I recommend, like for example, if this character was called Nathan, then rename it and have collections for all your characters, right? So you know the character, and they can sort their lights so they look good. That's what most GFX artists normally do. Like I think Softy probably like organizes everything so he can then add rim lights and add like light it up like in this mode, and just make the skin like all the way dark and just light that and then render that out, and then you can use that in his GFX, and then he can like tweak all the lights for one specific character, and then he does that for every single character, and then every character looks perfect because the GFX is supposed to look good, right? So you can choose like color. Maybe I want it to be blue, you know, like you can have different effects. Of course, you use a skin most of the time, but like just to test things out, you know, like this is like light, like this is light wise. Like maybe I want like a bluish tint on my character, maybe like a reddish tint, you know, like here, this controls the tint of your character. If I'm like in a desert-ish, I might want to choose like a reddish color, for example. Not too much, but like maybe that. Like maybe it's like a really sunny day, for example. Or maybe it's like really cold. I could use like a bluish tint. Like this can drastically change how your characters look. And then you just overlay it in Photoshop, and then it'll look good or bad. It depends on how your scene looks, right? But yeah, this light can change everything for your GFX. But usually this light, as you can see, like I can also like the head even becomes smaller, right? Like, and now I have like this stylized look. Like you see how this is like blocky and like it looks 2D, right? And you can see, like you can check what looks good, and then you can get ideas out of that. Like that looks like it's like an outline, right? Yeah, you can do a lot with that, but I usually delete it, and then I can check if my gradient looks good, and as you can see, that's a pretty smooth gradient, right? I don't know if you can see it on the video, but it should look good. But now we have this gradient. As you can see, it's pretty light here. This is like the lightest point. Of course, you can make it lighter if you want. Just make this brighter, and then the point will be a bit lighter. You might want to move that down then. As you can see, that's more lighter. I think 50 was good enough, like that. Bright point. You can of course make this smaller, so the bright point is a bit more brighter. Then of course all the way to the top it blends and it goes dark. Right now what I want to do is I want to add a front light. So I just go here, add a front light 90 degrees, snap that, and then go come on Z, there you go. And then you get this light. Of course that looks dull. As you can see, it looks pretty bland. It's like flat. It's basically flat. There's like no depth anymore. Like you got a little bit of shadows here, a little bit of shadows there, but that's kind of like how 2D artists shade stuff. It's because this light is pretty big. So we want to change that. So just make it a bit smaller. Not too small, but just a bit smaller. And it's best that you do it not front on, unless your camera maybe like is like this. That you see like how flat that is. Like this side is a bit more better shaded, right? This side is just really flat. So try to not position your light like front on. Like try to tilt it a bit, and of course try to make it smaller, maybe less brighter, maybe closer to the character. Like you can like see like. As you can see, that looks pretty good. That's like pretty basic but good lighting, you know. So yeah, as you can see right there, recommend moving that more to the character. Smaller light, less bright maybe. You can see that can kind of change everything up. Let's see. Also, you can have it like to the side, like maybe just like this side. I'll do this on global space. I might make it easier. Yeah, you can like, come on, rotate. There you go. Like maybe I just want the side. You can also use this control to like make it like really work on the character. It's not the best tool, but it kind of helps. So you don't get too much flat lighting. Smaller lamps. You can scale on the Z to make it like that, right? Yeah, it all really depends on it. If I make it like really big and then really bright, I can choose like, I can do it like that. And then I can make another lamp positioned like here, for example. Then I can make that brighter, right? So I kind of get like, it's like kind of flat, but it kind of also has depth on it, you know? So yeah, you have like, here it's a little bit brighter than that, but it's like kind of not noticeable. Like you really need to look close, so I recommend like making this a bit darker, for example, like 1 watt maybe. Making this maybe a bit smaller, a bit less bright. You don't want to lose too much detail on your character. Maybe like just put it on the side, rotate it like that, like add a gradient that goes from there. Maybe you want to do like make this smaller. It's really, lighting isn't really like follow from a book. It's more like testing stuff out and seeing what looks good, right? Since it can get quite complex. But as you can see, that looks pretty good. Maybe we want this light to be more to the back, all right? And then you can see we don't lose too much detail. And let's try to add a rim light now. So I just copy this huge lamp and then go like 90 degrees, scale this down a bit. There you go. Go here, scale that up. And as you can see, this really changes how your GFX looks. So if you check Y, come on, there you go. You can see like it just added more depth. And we never even did anything. We just added a simple lamp. And it just adds that. You can obviously give this like a color, you know, maybe not make it like a limit to like here, for example. Make this quite small. Don't make it too noticeable. Maybe make it like, of course you can edit it in Photoshop, right? If you use that in overlay. So as you can see like that. Let's try to make the character black. So yeah, this really makes it noticeable how your lights look. So you can add more detail if you make it like that. This you can kind of see it, but like this is pretty handy. So if I wanted like a smaller little disc lamp, for example, it's a little bit bigger. Make this point to here. As you can see, like I can really choose how it looks. And yeah, you can see like that little shine. Then of course, if I want to, I can add my skin back. Let's see, which skin do we have? We have this skin. Oh, I just realized it wasn't pointed correctly. Wait, huh? It's parented? Okay, I'm a little bit confused. I don't know why it's parented. Oh yeah, wait, I probably parented it by accident. You can parent it, but it doesn't really need to be. I think this lamp should only be parented to have like that gradient. I think the other lamps can like, you can like when he walks, for example, into like another scene, I think then there should be like a different set of lamps. You know how like look at that just changes immediately. All right, you see like you just by moving the character, it already changes everything, you know. Then it gets darker, and then it just fades off. So like you can just position the character where it needs to be, right? Like that looks really good. And then you can know what to do. So if I go here, I see that the rim light is more there. I feel like this lamp right here, maybe that's too big. I think that might need to be a little bit smaller, maybe a little bit more brighter. There you go. Also, big GFX tip, if you go color management, put this on high contrast. It makes everything have like a nice high contrast, which is really good. You can obviously do it in Photoshop too, but I like to do that as a basis. And then if I need to, I'll increase the contrast in Photoshop even more so it looks more crisp. Let's see, just move that. I felt like this was A little bit too straight on. Yeah. I think this rim light is really just shining on that. I want it to be a little bit more even, like that. Sometimes I like to do 2 rim lights, like that, you know. Easy shading method actually, if you just want to quickly switch through, maybe just go here, make a shift. Ignore all this weird stuff. That's from SoftGB. Let me delete these groups actually. Alright, so I can just add that, make this black, and then go here, add it to the color. Uh-oh, what happened? Oh. Color, there you go. And then you can just switch through this, right? But if you want it to be like in a really easy toggle, you can just like pin this somewhere, I guess. So like here, for example, shader editor, where is it? Here, close this end panel. Let's go here, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in, zoom in. There you go, and then you just have that. And then you just go here. You might need a, yeah, there. Show menus, show header, and they can just switch through. Right? I think there's a way to hide all this random stuff. Don't know how, but you can just switch through like that, or you can make like custom property, whatever. Let's make it black again. All right. Maybe want this like. You see how like good that is? I feel like this part, like this. I feel like this is like missing a bit of detail. I can't draw on it. Come on, let me draw on it, dude. I only want annotations. Boop, there you go. I feel like this side is like kind of bland. You know, maybe we should add something there. So maybe, I could probably add another front lamp. I don't think I have a front lamp in this. I have side lamps, but I don't have like a front lamp. So I'll probably copy this again. Whoops, yoink, and then make it smaller. Yeah, as you can see, that kind of flattens the light again. I feel like make it like pretty big. I mean, like it's now flat. It kind of made it flat. I want it to be like a gradient that goes through. We know that it's only that side, so we can kind of just reflect it on that side. That's quite bright. Alright. Rotate that. Maybe we want it to be a disc. What's this? Ellipse? I'll probably do a disc. Yeah, since that's smooth. We can try with subdivs. Oh, that looks, yeah, the rim light definitely changed a lot on that. Since the rim light, yeah, you might need to move that. Yeah, definitely check with subdivisions on, so you know how your GFX looks like, right? Since the blocky package is a bit, is this not the same brightness? 50, 50. Yeah, why is it not? It's like really bright on this one. That's this one, right? Yeah. I think it's too bright on the leg. Is this a sign that I move it this way? Yeah, there you go. I want to move these up a bit. Might make them both brighter. If you hold Alt, you can make it both brighter. So it's like both sides get brighter, right? Or you can add a driver. Yeah, just make it simple for yourself. Maybe change its color. I like that tone actually. I usually do like blue and then red on the other side. You can choose, right? And that looks pretty good. I think the only thing we're missing now is we're still like blending to the top. Alright. I add a sky texture most of the time. Let's see, let's add this to transparent, 180 degrees. As you can see, that kind of like makes everything look like it's in a good scene, right? Not in studio. Like this adds like an environment to it, you know? Alright. Honestly, this is like, if you're using a rim light setup, don't add that. If you're not, do that, sure. If you want like a bluish tint, I probably won't use that, but if you're like using a lively scene, use a sky texture. It kind of improves everything. I'd say don't rely too much on that though. It's kind of like the HDRI situation. Don't rely too much on HDRIs. It's good, but like, shouldn't rely too much on it, you know? It's a tool, not like, it's not gonna replace it. So, these rim light have like gone a little bit. I think the front lamp, I don't know where the front lamp is. I think that's there's a front lamp, which was, I think, rotated. It was this one, right? Yeah, that kind of made us lose detail. Yeah, let's add a top lamp. So you can basically just reuse this, right? But just see like what fits for you. Maybe you want it to be a bit smaller. Oh, I did see a nice little, that looks pretty good for a top lamp. Maybe you can give this like a tone. You can give it like a bluish tone, reddish tone, any type of tone. You can give it like a custom color. Don't make it clip with the other lights, that might break stuff. As you can see, like you get that gradient-ish. Lighting really loves, like making lights really loves like gradients. So like if you get like a nice gradient, you already have good lighting and you'll see that. Let's see. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Also, you can improve. I see like the pants here are really dark. So you'd probably need to add lights to the pants, right? Like that. But obviously don't make it too flat. Like it can be a light, but not too flat like that maybe. You can obviously change the material a bit. What I usually do is I do 0.5 metallic, 0.8 roughness. The roughness can vary actually. Never 0. Although that looks very stylized. That looks like a 2D-ish. That looks like a 2D like cartoon shader kind of thing. I don't really like that look. I mean, sometimes I do, but it kind of looks really glossy, so. I don't want it to be too metallic. So like 0.769, sure. I don't change the specular. I feel like you shouldn't change the specular. I think specular is meant to be only 0.5. Since if you do too much, the lights reflects too much. If you don't do any, there's like almost no light reflections. 0.5 is good. If you do that, you like lose kind of detail. Or no, you get too much detail or you lose too much detail. So you have to go in between, which I think is good. Emission, I don't mess with this ever. I don't know why you would. I guess no, it's not, since you can't really get a silhouette. No, I don't know why people use this. I don't know. Maybe if you want like glowing eyes or glowing shirts, you can use it. Quick way to make like a silhouette type look is going to material output. Go here to Shift A. Let me wait a bit. Okay, there you go, RGB. And then just add a Shift A mix shader. I don't know if this will work. I haven't tried it, but wait, no, that's probably not good. I know. No, that works. So they have silhouette. So silhouettes are used for posing. So you can switch through. So this is just for the posing. This isn't anything to do with lighting. It's mainly just for posing. And if you check through your animation, you can try to find key poses. But yeah, that's pretty much how you, I guess, do good lighting, right? I got this end result. Obviously could be better. It's not meant to be serious. You just gotta mess with like your lighting to see how like it can look good or look bad. Like you try to just you experiment, right? So experimenting leads you to this point. Bada bing, bada boom. You get good lighting. Period. That's it. All right, I'm done. Hopefully I'll see y'all in the next video. I'll be uploading more videos soon on AEPBR, which I'm excited for. But yeah, see you guys later. Bye. What you waiting here for? I said go away. Watch another video. Wait, you want me to finish this? I'm not finishing it. Go away. I was sitting here so good. Guess I have to stand up to stop recording again. Alright.